Detroit Wants to Know. This week we're coming to you from Orchard Maple Family Dental in lovely West Bloomfield. Everybody watching this in a few weeks, if you're a parent, you're going to be enrolling your child in school. There are a myriad of choices from private to public, and in Detroit you have charters, you have the Educational Achievement Authority schools. To help break all this down for us and the myriad of these choices and what's really available to you, I have Dr. Tom Pedroni. He is an associate professor in the College of Education at Wayne State University, our own. Dr. Pedroni, welcome to Detroit Wants to Know. I want to thank you for your research into the Educational Achievement Authority and into charter schools. You're the only one that's really been bringing it out there to the forefront. When a parent is looking to enroll their child in either the Educational Authority or a charter school, what are they getting?
Right. That's a great question, and I'm so glad that you have me here. One of the roles that I play is I'm the director of the Leonard Kaplan Education Collaborative for Critical Urban Studies. And what we try to do is do a lot of that public work and get it out into the public sphere so that it can become part of the conversation around education, because it's obviously such an important part of the year right now, as you're saying, with parents thinking about where are they going to put their kids this year. There's always so much transition in the educational world. So what does it mean right now? Well, parents just within Detroit have the choice between the Educational Achievement Authority, Detroit Public Schools, the various charters, and even some of the suburban surrounding districts that are getting supported financially by a lot of kids leaving Detroit, crossing county borders.
What's that number, about 20,000 now?
I believe it's even higher than that. I think it might be around 30,000. I'd have to double check that. But it's substantial. It is substantial. And it's all per pupil dollars that are leaving the Detroit area, something to be thinking about in itself. Now, all of this would be, in my view, a worthwhile experiment if it were producing results that clearly showed us that parents were getting something out of it. But the fact of the matter is that I have looked at, and my colleagues have looked at, a lot of the data around performance, and financial efficiency, and what we're seeing is that people are getting no better results in charters. They're getting no better results in the EAA. In fact, they're getting worse results. And even with those who are migrating across the county lines into the suburbs, students are oftentimes finding out that they feel really isolated and not entirely welcome, which is a really sad thing in some of our suburban districts. In terms of specifics, one of the things that I did in analyzing the Education Achievement Authority about a year and a half ago was to pinpoint the ways in which students who were entering the EAA schools were actually losing proficiency. It wasn't just that they were making maybe just a little bit of progress toward proficiency, but they were actually downgrading. And many students who came in as proficient, as measured by our state mandated tests, were actually falling further behind so that they were no longer proficient.
That's horrible.
It's a really sad situation.
And what's horrible about that is, you know, our tax dollars were spent to build some of those brand new schools that the EAA has taken over, and to hear that students are actually getting worse in the EAA is horrible.
It is absolutely the case, and we've had great work that has been done recently that has, it's very sad of course what we find out, but it's the work that we need to do for the public. That we know from having to FOIA the EAA, for example, that for the first almost 2 years of their existence, they've been in existence now for 3 years, they did not even have the software ready, the Buzz platform ready in such a way that they considered it something that they'd be proud of. And we know that from FOIAing internal documents to the EA and seeing that those who were developing the software that was the core of their curriculum were not ready to put it out to any other district because they said it was basically hack software. So long story short, what we have in Detroit and around Detroit is a lot of experimentation on mostly African-American children. And the underlying theme, whether you're talking about DPS or EAA or charters or the suburban districts, it's all about that money that students represent, the per pupil money, and it's largely also about transferring money from public hands into private profit.
I want to come back to that in the next segment.
Okay.
Where can a parent find your report? Is there a website where your report's available?
Yes, I have a lot of, all of my materials, and some of my colleagues' materials are available on a website called, it's DetroitDataDemocracy.org, all one word, DetroitDataDemocracy.org.
DetroitDataDemocracy.org.
ORG,
okay,
yeah.
ORG. When we come back, we're going to talk about taking our public dollars and putting it into private hands, because you've done a lot of work on that. We talked about that briefly off camera. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with Dr. Tom Pedroni of Wayne State University. And give me that website again.
DetroitDataDemocracy.org.
Visit that site before you make your choice of where you want to put your child in school. We'll be right back with Detroit Wants to Know. Don't leave. You've got to enroll your kids in a couple weeks.